Is Jeff McInnes in the house? Come on up, Jeff. Longtime friend and what do we decide? 20 years?
At least, yeah.
At least.
But
So
we don't
you
wanna-
now
we
work
don't want
for,
to date ourselves. So.
you now work for who?
I work for Tidal Grow Agrisciences.
What are they all about? Well, you'll get into that, right?
I absolutely will.
Let-
We're,
let
all,
me-
we're all about chitosan. So.
Let me get your PowerPoint up and you can get started.
Okay. And I have a stopwatch here, so I'll try not to go over. Because really, the information we have can go on and on and on. So, but let me go ahead first and introduce my colleague here, Miss Jenny Garley. Miss Jenny Garley, up and down.
Up and down.
Okay. We hired her as a consultant to help us with a lot of validity that we're doing, but she's also the chief science officer for New Age Labs. And they're a SAP testing facility, and they do amazing work. I've been working with SAP for 6 or 7 years, and it's really made a big difference. Now, that was the pitch for that, but I'm actually here to talk about chitosan. So first of all, Tidal Grow Agrisciences is an offshoot of a bigger company, which is Tidal Vision. Tidal Vision is a company that actually is all about taking chitin from the sea, crabs and shrimp and shells and salmon and all kinds of fish. And what they do is they actually create, they take the chitin and through deacetylation, they produce different types of chitosan, and that's used in different types of industries. So we have, their big business is actually a water treatment because all chitosan is not equal. There's different molecular weights. The different molecular weights cause different reactions in the soil, whether we're working in agriculture to go after fungal or plant pathogens or nematodes or insects or diseases, because almost all insects, bacteria, fungi, they'll have chitin in their exoskeleton. So that's our biggest. Water treatment is a big thing that they do. It's a green company. They're able to treat water without using chemicals. And chitosan is biodegradable, so it goes right back into the environment. It's pretty safe. The second part, we have a textile business. The textile business, actually, we've got contracts with like Gore-Tex and Tesla. We're using our chitin products, our chitosan products, to go into theirs to get rid of some of the PFAs, PLAs, the forever chemicals. So it's a really amazing company, but I am here to talk about what my passion is, which is agriculture. This particular company here produces several different products that I've been working with for many years. I have to at least talk about this, John, because we just put 2 tanks out in your yard for this. So anyway, Pacific Grow Oceanic, it's a fish hydrolysate. It's kind of an interesting product. Well, we'll go into how it is, and then of course we have also what we call Pacific CFOS. CFOS is one of the only phosphate products that are on the organic market that's certified. I've been working with these particular 2 products for the last 6 years. This is an interesting, we have a special, there's a lot of fish out there. What sets ours apart is we have a cold vortex process. We don't cook it. We keep all the enzymes intact. We also have we keep the oils. We have about a 15% oil, which I think Dr. Cazares talked about fungi, and fungi like the lipids. Okay, so we give them food, but we also keep the chitin as far as we have in the shell, the oil, the bone. It's kind of an interesting process, but it's a very nutrient-dense product, and we work in conjunction with microbiology, like for instance with your Activate and your PSLMAT. Right. So it's really a great product, and it's much different than other fish. But I'm here to talk about, and what got me really excited, is this product called Spectra. Spectra is a combination of several different types of chitosan. Okay, so what you do is you take chitin, and through the chitinase enzyme, it breaks down in the environment, and then the different forms of chitosan is what's utilized by microbiology. It's utilized by plants to deliver things. It has different effects to it. And the neat thing about this Spectra is through all of our bioengineers, all these really smart people who've taken chemical engineers and taken this apart, they've identified several different types of chitosan, molecular weights that can go together to do many, many different things. That's why we call it Spectra. What chitosan does is it activates a natural defense in a plant. So for example, what I like to do and what I found the most exciting is I've worked with some chitosan products in the past, but this particular product is really neat because what we've done is we put it through the water first. And then what that does is that elicits the plant to do different things in its plant defense. And so it sets the plant up to set out phytohormones and different types of actives to strengthen cell walls and to do different things that will keep things like powdery mildew from entering in, or it attacks in the ground. It sends out hormones chemicals through the roots that actually that drive different types of biology to form biofilms around the roots and to deliver nutrients. Another thing it does, it fights pathogens directly. What we do know is that the chitinase enzyme attacks the chitin that's in, whether it's a fungus, or whether it's a nematode, or whether it's, for example, done a lot of work with against insects such as the garden symphyllum, which is an amazing work. We don't have a slide on that, but if I got time, I'm going to tell you about it. And then, of course, at lower rates, we've seen some amazing things on the plant health side. Stimulates growth. We've seen plants side by side where we've actually put it through the drip in the transplant mix in the field, and then we left it out, and we've seen some pretty amazing things happen. So we're going to get into some things we talked about here. The elicitor response, this is a really cool slide. It sends out, it causes the plant cell to send out chitinases. Those chitinases actually will attack the plant pathogenic nematodes. It also attacks the eggs of the nematodes because, again, they have chitin around their skeletons. And, of course, we can see some nematophagous efficacy with our fungi. By the way, that was a really good talk. That was awesome. So here are some quick trial results that we've seen. So in 2022, we did some field trial. What we do know is that our particular chitosan could actually be a copper replacement. So we have some really exciting things we've done around copper, especially in places because we know that copper, we use a lot of copper out there. It's the only thing we really have in the organic side to fight some diseases. But copper remains in the soil, and we're seeing some really high levels through sap analysis and other things, some phytotoxic levels. So we've done a lot of work around copper replacement, and so the best thing that we have to do, and I know that wellness is a tough deal, but we work with a lot of a couple haulers, and some of these things we've done is we've actually done replacing copper and mangozeb sprays with Spectra. As you can see, we actually had an untreated check where we didn't spray anything. We did the grower standard, which was 5 pounds of copper, 2.4 pounds of mancozeb per acre applied 3 times over the season. They got about a 51% infection rate, which still is not really good. This year was really a tough year because of all the rain. But then look what happens when we take that and we add some Spectra to it at 11 ounces per fluid acre. So what we have also found is that when we add the chitosan product to different types of insecticides, fungicides, bacteriicides, we see a greater efficiency, a greater efficacy. And we see this over and over and over. Here's another one where we've done oranges in Florida. In fact, we've got a lot of Spectra down in Florida right now because we talk about spraying 3 times a season. The Florida citrus industry down there is spraying all the time. And they're having a lot of issues. And so as you can see here, untreated control, severity of citrus canker, and then when we add our product in with the treatment of 3 pounds per acre 6 times a season, we see quite a bit of reduction. But look what happens when we just take half the rate of copper and add 11 ounces of Spectra throughout the season. We're already down. We do even a better job than the full rate. Again, we're looking at a copper replacement. Here's where chlorothalonil or Bravo in potatoes in Washington. Again, the grower standard, which is full rate of chlorothalonil. We have a reduction of early blight, about a 25% reduction in their untreated. But look what happens when we add the Spectra to the chlorothalonil. Just another example of how we actually increase the efficacy of the actual product, because we're trying to keep these chemistries alive, right? We're losing chemistries every day, and especially in California, it's terrible. Again, here's a field trial, another field trial in potatoes, and what this just basically tells you is it says that we increased the marketable yield because we had better control, so we had better quality, we had more ROI to the grower. But here's my excitement. Okay, I've got a grower up in Davis, California, just outside of Davis, California, I've been working with for years. He's got some seed asparagus. And over the last several years, it's just his seed asparagus, he's got his Fusarium oxysporum was so bad, and the aphids were so bad that he was basically just talking about just walking away from the whole deal. Okay, so I went to Rich and I said, hey, you know what? Our label says we should control aphids, and our label says we do really good on Fusarium. So I'm trying to stress test this because we have what we call as a research authorization here in California. We're registered and I'm going to show we're registered in a lot of other states, but in California, we're under a 25B registration. They're rewriting the rules, and so we're not going to get registration until July of 2024, which was exciting for me because I could go out and stress test this. I've got 35 trials from Chico clear down Imperial. We also have strawberries over on the coast and some other things. But this trial was exciting because all we did here was their normal standard program is we're going to harvest whatever we can. We usually have so many aphids, even though we're spraying several applications of fulfill, we still have so many aphids that when we go to thresh the seeds, it's a mess. The honeydew, they have to keep cleaning out the thresher, and it's just a real mess, and their yields are terrible. So we just went ahead and said, okay, Rich, let's do it. This is the way the farmer does it, right? You want to give the farmer a product, but you don't want to make him do any more work, right? It shouldn't be his responsibility to test your product and do more work so you can get your results. So I said, Rich, let's just put it through the water. He's got buried drip, so we put it through the water. We put on 3 applications of 22 ounces because our label says 6 to 22 ounces. And then this is what happened. We had a 90% reduction in Fusarium oxysporum. We had more uniform growth on the ferns. We had almost 0 aphid. And the beneficial populations, of course, which were ladybird beetle larvae and lacewing larvae, were magnificent. So to say at the very least that I didn't, and let's be honest, from a PCA or a crop consultant or an agronomy point of view or an entomologist, you wouldn't expect to see this out of a biopesticide, right? We saw that. It was amazing, nothing less than amazing. So I have a lot of, again, we saw uniform growth, the ferns were bigger, we saw the emergence of beneficial insects, but this was what was really great. So we had an increase of almost 50% on yields, which was tremendous because if you know what the price of asparagus seed, that's pretty significant, okay? I probably shouldn't tell you what the money was, but the money was amazing. So here's where we're registered. The green states were registered. California, again, is an RA. And the registrations in Montana, Idaho, and Indiana, they're just waiting on some more data. But I want to share, do I have another, how much more time? 1 minute.
Close it down, Jeff. Sorry.
Okay.
You'll have to get with them later.
Okay, so the other amazing thing I saw is on some premium wine grapes, Chardonnays, mildew was unbelievable this year across the board, okay? We went up against full rates of fungicides, commercial fungicides, and just our product alone in combination with wettable sulfur. They had 60% infection rate by the time I got to Verasion. Our Spectra product had less than 10. These are the kind of things we're seeing. We went up against garden symphyllums, transplant mix. We went up against Botchiosphere. I mean, it's unbelievable what I'm seeing. So again, we're trialing it. We're looking forward to it. But I really think this particular product, if we utilize it correctly, it's going to change a lot of the way we do things. So with that being said, I just want to thank everybody for allowing me to be here, especially you. And if there's any questions, you can catch us a little bit later. All right?
Thank you.